Arena timing's different.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? You have to talk about arena timing. Did you ever think of that? While you're on the Travel Channel, you'd be talking about arena timing?
If you told me
arena timing.
If you told me I would never imagine that I'd be where I am today when I first did this podcast. Like the first day I did this podcast and I got in the car with Red Band and I had 3,000 followers on Twitter and we were driving home and I was wasted and I was like, that was funny shit. To tell me that I am today, that I'm in the middle of an arena tour. I have a movie coming out. I have a Netflix special. I'm my 5th fucking special. I don't deserve it. I don't feel like I feel like there's so many people so much better than me.
It's not about that. You definitely deserve it. And it's not like so many people deserve it. No, it doesn't exist for them. You made a thing. You figured out a path, and you got through, and it's great, and people love it. It's like it's not a matter of whether or not you deserve it. Of course, you deserve it.
I was lucky. In that
everyone's lucky.
I fucked up. There's a couple things of advice that I'm really glad I took. The number one bit of advice that I'm glad I took is when you came up to me at the Ice House with the whiskey, shots of Jack, and 2 beers, and you said, "Hey, we're trying to be your friend. You got to let us." And I did not want any friends. I did not want a fucking friend. I had my kids and my wife. I was good. I remember you were like, we're trying to be your friend. Just let us be your friend. And I was like, I'm so grateful that it was you that said it in that moment and that I listened. Because the group of friends I have now is so wide and so thick. And it's because of that one moment. Because I just was like, fuck comics, they're crazy. Fuck famous people.
I knew that you had some bad experiences with some other comics that we know. One in specific that we know that's out of his fucking mind. And I was like, dude, you met some bad people. That's all it is. Like this is a good group.
I remember.
Like we love you.
I remember saying to Red Band, we were at the Improv before I met you. And I said, I kind of met Red Band, I knew Ari. And I said, so what's wrong with Joe? And they're like, what? And I go, what's wrong with, like, is he gay or what's his thing? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, no one's ever this nice. Like, something's going on. He needs something. He wants something. What's he trying to get? And they were like, nothing. And then Ari did this little, oh, let me tell you, never paid for a meal around Joe, fly first class, put up nice, treats us right. He's the greatest guy in the fucking world. And I was like, okay. I'll wait till he tries to kiss me and tell you guys. And then you and Bill telling me that my TV show sucked and I needed to get focused on stand-up. I'm glad I listened to that. It's like amazing if I didn't. I mean, I had obviously my respect I have for you, but I have the same for Bill. And and then that phone call you gave me in Vietnam.
Well, I was high. And I was in the green room of the Comedy Store. Yeah. And I called you up just because I missed you. I was like, what's he up to? And then when you answered and you're like, I'm on a motorcycle, I'm in Vietnam. It was like an overwhelming voice in my head was like, you got to get this guy to quit that fucking show. I was like, you got to quit that show. Like, you have to quit. I'm like, Bert, you're too funny. I go, you should be a huge stand-up comedian.
But what's crazy is, I think maybe now you can hear that advice and connect to where I am today and going, okay, he's got a movie coming out, he's got all these big things. But you don't believe in yourself then. You're just some fucking $1,500 a week comic, or $3,000 a week comic maybe at the time, going like, it'll never happen for me. We were saying this before the podcast started. When I was younger, before I met Leanne and then right when I met Leanne, I wanted it so bad. I wanted what I have now, I wanted it so bad. But I thought it would be different. It's not what I thought it was going to be, but I wanted it. I watched Dane. I'm 100% honest. So if it bothers anyone what I'm about to say, I'm fine. I watched Dane blow up, and I wasn't jealous, but I was envious. I was like, how cool. He goes to he knows movie stars, and then I'm so grateful that I didn't get what I wanted. I'm so grateful that it didn't show up until I was 44, and then now I'm 50. And I can really appreciate that. I can really appreciate it. It would never have meant what it means to have Ron White watch me do stand up. Yeah, it means something to me. I'm so when I did the Boston Garden, I cried on stage. Oh, I'm gonna cry telling you this, but it's standing ovations are interesting because You can cheat them. I did this to Ari one time. I was like, I go, you want me to show you how to get a standing ovation? And he was like, wait, you can get a standing ovation? I go, it's super easy. I'll show you. And I walked him through like a 5-point PowerPoint process of how to get a standing ovation. And he was, I mean, Joe, it was almost like the day he lost his religion in Judaism. He just like, it's not fair. Is anyone else upset by this? But when you get them and you've earned them, and it happens quick, and it's just, and everyone stands up, that has happened a few times to me, and every time I fucking cry, I'm just like, boom, water. I cry easy too. I think I'm fucking. Thank God I'm on testosterone.
A lot of estrogen.
A lot of estrogen. My testosterone levels were so bad that Brigham was like, I have to call you they. But yeah, like those, I never thought I'd be where I am. And if it all goes away tomorrow, I go, that was a fun fucking ride. It's like riding a horse. It's fucking been a goddamn trip.
But the key is now, with the success you have, is recognizing that there is no destination. There's what's important. None. Because this thought that you're gonna get somewhere and it's all gonna make sense. No, what happens is your motivation shifts. Your motivation shifts from this undesirable, this unstoppable desire to make it. Then your motivation shifts to doing the best work that you can.
That was my last night. I don't get nervous going on stage, but very seldomly do I prepare. Like prepare, where I go, let's think very thoughtfully about what we want to. Let's turn this into a job and let's work. And last night I sat down before dinner with you and I wrote every new idea I had down, and I said, I got my book. I remember a lot of them I want to do. I'm gonna make sure I hit all of them, because I was like, there's a chance that like Jim Norton, I didn't know Jim would be there, but like there's a chance that I know that you'll be there. And I go, these are my peers, and I want to make sure they know that I'm working. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. The second you see your peers stop working, and I won't say their names, but we've seen them.
Yeah.
The big comics that just phone it in, and I go. And I was very thoughtful in my approach to doing stand-up last night, because I was like, that's when it goes away, is when you stop giving a fuck, you stop bringing around.
That's with everything in life. That's when your marriage fucks up. That's when your friendships fuck up. That's when you're a bad neighbor. That's when you're a bad dad. That's when you're bad at your job. It's when you suck at a sport. You know, I mean, a lot of things in life is whether or not you appreciate them. It's being in them and recognizing. Like when we were kids, when we were starting out doing stand-up, the idea that making a living doing stand-up was crazy. Like, we always had jobs, right? Everybody had jobs in the beginning. So you're like, imagine if I could only pay my bills through comedy. That's insane.